Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this section. So does this represent direct variation? So I'm going to make y by itself. And remember, if I have y by itself and I have nothing being added or subtracted to my x, then it is direct variation. The constant of variation is another way of finding the slope of a direct variation line. So I have 5y. I'm going to move my 4x to the other side, so negative 4x. Because remember, I subtract 4x by both sides. So then 5y is equal to negative 4x. Divide both sides by 5, so I get y is equal to negative 4/5 x. There's nothing being added or subtracted to the direct variation. So yes, it is direct variation. And the constant of variation is the slope, which is the number, the coefficient in front of x. Okay? Slope and y-intercept. So I just need to make everything into slope-intercept form. So I'm going to add 9x to both sides. So I get my slope is the coefficient of x, or the number in front of x, which is 9, and my y-intercept is always the number that is being added or subtracted to the variable once it looks like y equals mx plus b. So my y-intercept is 0, 1/2. Remember, where it crosses the x-axis, or I'm sorry, where it crosses the y-axis, that x value has to be equal to 0 because that's where it intersects the y-axis. So we write it, our y-intercepts, as a coordinate point. It's not just 1/2. It is 0, 1/2 because it's an actual coordinate point on the graph. I have 2 question 3s. This should be question 4. But I'm going to let you guys skip this one because we didn't really talk about that one. So we'll do that question 4. Here's a question 5. This is already sort of in y equals mx plus b form, but I'm just going to rearrange it to make it look like it a little bit better for you guys. Okay, so remember that the sign is what carries from the left-hand side. So that's why it's a negative 3x. And then there's a plus technically in front of the 7. So that's why it's plus 7 here. And then your slope is negative 3 and your y-intercept is at 7. So remember, again, it's 0, 7. Very important, though, as we get, further along in math, I would hope that you would not have to rearrange this and you'd be able to look at the equation when it's just rearranged in this form and tell me what the slope and the y-intercept is. That would be the goal. So if you can do that now, I don't need to see you rearranging it. Okay, so here I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. So I have 8y is equal to negative 2x minus 6. We're going to divide both sides by 8. So that means I take both terms and I divide it by 8 on the right-hand side. So y is equal to, I'm going to reduce. So this gives me negative 1/4 x. And then I'm going to reduce again. So I get a negative 3/4. So then my slope, again, is the number in front of x. So the coefficient of x, which is 1/4. And my y-intercept is what's being added or subtracted. So 0, negative 3/4. Okay. Again, slope already in slope-intercept form. So then my slope is 1/4 and my y-intercept is, not negative, 0, negative 1/3. Okay, question 10. Question 11. So remember, I'm going to take point slope form, which is y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. And I'm switching the sign when, so if it's negative here, it's actually a positive. And then when it's a positive, it's actually a negative. So remember that my slope is the number that's in front of, when I'm in point slope form, it's the number in front of the parentheses. And here, because it's subtraction straight down, it's actually a positive y value. So my point is a positive 12. And then because it's addition, to get addition from subtraction, it's a minus 7. So this is negative 7, which we talked about, you just flip the signs when you look at it. Okay, so there's question 12, question 13, and then that ends this section, is to find the X and Y intercept. So this is what we call in standard form. And to find an x-intercept is where it crosses the x-axis. So I'm going to plug in y equals 0 and solve my equation. So 3x plus 8 times 0 is equal to 12. So 3x is equal to 12. Divide both sides by 3, and I get x is equal to 4. So my x-intercept is 4, comma, what I plugged in for y, which is 0. My y-intercept I plug in x equals 0. So then 3 times 0 plus 8y is equal to 12. So 8y is equal to 12. Divide both sides by 8. So I get y is equal to 12 over 8, which both of them are divisible by 3. I'm sorry, both of them divisible by 4. So then I get 3 and 2. So y is equal to 3 halves. So my y-intercept is 0, 3 halves. Okay, and that is it for this section.